All right, we're here on a Monday. What should the Lions do about Sunday in this game against the Bears?
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, it's a brand new week, everybody. Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and the number one sports podcast network. Matt Dery with you on a Monday, December the 29th, and a Tuesday, December 30th. Thanks for making us your first listen, everybody, and checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. Big show for you today. We got a question about the Lions' second-round pick this year, Tate Ratledge, and where he should be playing Sunday in this Lions finale in Chicago. We did not have a show on Friday. We have not spoken to you since Thursday night following that debacle where the Lions fell to the Minnesota Vikings 23-10. So we'll recap the PFF grades from last Thursday and then put that to bed. What changes should and should not happen going into next season? I got a few thoughts on that. Week 17 is here. And for those of you watching on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel, if the feed is not as clear or clean, my apologies. We're doing the best we can. We're on a little bit of a family vacation right now, or at least a vacation right now. My wife and I are at parts unknown. And so look, you get into places where sometimes the internet is just not the best. So we're going to do the best we can for this week. If the feed's not the best, we apologize. Shout out to one of our everydayers that I met down here at Parts Unknown. I ran into a guy named Bo Walensky. Bo, thank you for watching the show, checking us out daily. Bo and his wife, Allie from Plymouth. Big time Locked On Lions viewers and listeners. Thank you so much. All right, let's get into it. Week 17 is here. And following last night's unbelievable tackle football game between the Bears and the Niners, touchdown Bears, the Niners prevailing in just a slugfest. What was it, 42-38 last night out in San Francisco. The Lions will be playing the Bears at Soldier Field this Sunday at 4:25. And yes, the game does have meaning for Chicago because they want to be look, if you're the Bears, you want to be the 2 seed. Last thing you want to do is be the 3 and have to play the Rams. You're the 2 seed. You host the Packers. Number one, it's a rivalry game, and you're at home for Chicago. Number 2, the Packers are banged up. They are running out of players. They got guys being carted off the field left and right. And yes, while Green Bay lost to the Ravens the other night, and yes, Malik Willis looked good, and it was a good, entertaining game. Green Bay is very banged up going into the postseason. And sitting at that 7 seed right now, if I'm the Bears, and if they beat the Lions, the Bears are the 2 seed. If they lose and the Eagles win this week, the Eagles are the 2 and the Bears are the 3. The Bears would have to host the Rams in the 3-6 matchup. And we saw the Rams a few weeks ago. The Rams are as good as any team in the NFC. I can't say the same thing about Green Bay, not with all of the losses that they've amassed, especially up front on their defensive line. Micah Parsons out, Wyatt out. Wyatt's backup got hurt the other night. Packers are banged up right now. Jordan Love is not 100%. Malik Willis is not 100%. Clayton Tune had to finish that game the other night. Regardless, Lions, Bears, 4:25 at Soldier Field on Sunday. And for the Lions, following what has taken place here the last 3 weeks with 3 consecutive losses and an 8-8 record, staring at a losing record right in the face here, going into Chicago on Sunday, I'm sorry, we got to start the week off like this. And I hate to do this because this is not the team's identity. It's not what they're all about. Dan Campbell didn't have a definitive answer on it today, but I'm not playing a lot of my regulars this week. Why should Jared Goff be playing in the freezing cold and going up against the Bears, who might take some shots at him, who might knock him down, might get him hurt? Amon-Ra St. Brown's dealing with a leg injury right now. Why play any of your guys for the future that you want to see in the future and you need for next year? Why play them in this game this week? Oh, because we want the Lions to end the season on a good note? Golly gee, this season ain't ending on a good note, even if they swept Ben Johnson. So what? Yes, I get what this organization has been about. It's been about winning. And to get a 9th win and to finish with 4 consecutive winning seasons is an accomplishment. All right, one of our everyday listeners and a great young man, Noah Taluki, who I used to teach at U of D Jesuit High School. He is the ultimate Lions fan. He loves the Lions. He's very positive about the Lions. And Noah, I know, would be texting me, telling me, hey, I saw you talk about me on your show. Yes, I want us to win. He watches every game like it's the last. Like, hey, we got to win. And I know that the Lions have been built a certain way, and they don't want to be 8-9. Nobody wants them to lose. But in this, but in this instance, the way Jared Goff nearly got decapitated last week, the way the offensive line has played, the way this whole thing has gone down, to try to play spoiler to knock the Bears down one spot, I'm not sure if it's worth it putting your regulars out there. Why should Penei Sewell play in this game? He has been banged up for weeks. Why should Taylor Decker play in this game? He's been banged up for weeks. Aleem McNeil's got leg issues and hamstrings and quads that have been bothering him. No, Alex Anzalone is fighting through a concussion. I know it might be a Gaines Media poster boy's last game with the flowing locks in Detroit. Not playing him. St. Brown has a knee issue. Not playing him. Not doing it. Today, Dan Campbell met with the media and said, quote, you can always find a lot out with one game to go. And no, we're not playing for the playoffs, but there's still things we can find out. And I expect the guys that we have here to give it what they've got one more time. That's the expectation. End quote. When asked about all of the players that are banged up and injured and whether they would play this week, quote, the injury report is we're pretty riddled right now, so I don't know. We'll find out more here in the next day or two. I mean, if they can play, we're playing, Campbell said, end quote. He says Amon-Ra St. Brown is day-to-day with an aggravated knee injury. He wants to go, and he'll be day-to-day. He's improved, end quote. God bless Amon-Ra St. Brown. He is a warrior. He's a tremendous player. He's an all-pro player. He's a first-team Pro Bowler. He's a starter for the Pro Bowl with all of the great wide receivers that there are in the NFC. Am I playing Amon-Ra St. Brown in bitter cold conditions in Chicago against the Bears in a game that, I'm sorry, means nothing? I am not. I am not. Let's sit this one out and get ready for next year. You want to find out if Mahogany is going to be your left guard of the future? Fine. You want to find out about Ratledge? You want to find out about some of your defensive players that you're not sure about? That you're not sure you want to keep next year? Whether it's young guys like Daniel Thomas playing a bigger role at safety, giving Tyleik Williams a bigger role this week to see what he can do. I hate to be this Debbie Downer here, but I gotta keep it real because that's what we do on the show. I've been doing the show for 10 years. I've been in this market for nearly 30 years. I moved here in August of 96. I've covered the Lions since 1996, whether it was a WDFN or 97 on the ticket or 105.1. Let me tell you something. Dan Campbell saying we need to find out about some of the young guys. Who are you trying to find out about, though? The depth is not there. Watch the 49ers and look at the depth that they have with all of the guys that they've lost due to injuries. Last night, they lost Trent Williams. They've been playing without Fred Warner. Look at the depth Minnesota showed you last Sunday with all of the guys injured, all the guys out. Who's this backup tight end for the Niners? I don't even know who he is. Last night, he was getting interviewed after the game, got a game ball. No clue who he is. I know who George Kittle is because John Lynch has built tremendous depth in San Francisco. And I got news for you Lions fans that are worried about next year. Maybe one of the reasons why I'm not, and I think this team can bounce back and do pretty well, although they must add depth. Can't add it with a third-round pick. Don't have one. Oops. 49ers last year finished 6-11. 2 years ago, the Eagles were a dumpster fire. They both came back, all guns a-blazing. Philly ended up winning the Super Bowl. And the Niners this year, I think, are Super Bowl contenders and currently the 1 seed in the NFC. San Francisco lost 11 games last year, and everybody out in the Bay Area said, the run is over. Shanahan leaving? Is Lynch leaving? No more this, no more that. No, they got rid of some guys. They phased out Ayuk and some of the bad seeds. And now they are what, 12-3, 12-4 with one to go. They are tremendous. And they kept their core together and they got their act together. I think the Lions can do the same thing. I think you look at what happened last year in San Francisco, all the injuries that they had and how poorly they played, and they bounced back, despite a lot of people saying that the window and the door was closing. Not at all. I see the same thing with the Lions. They just need to build more depth. They were not deep enough this year. And when the injuries started to mount, the players that came in to take their spots were not good enough. And the coaching wasn't good enough. We'll talk about that coming up next. And all sorts of other things played a role. For sure. Kirby Joseph's health going back to July when he was first sat out some practices with that knee, another big factor as well. All right, coming up next, what changes are we hearing should happen or should not happen? I got an opinion on that. Do that next right here on a Monday. Locked On Lions, Matt Dery with you. And the Locked On Lions for this Monday are brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. Love me some Prize Picks and having a lot of fun playing Prize Picks. You know what else is a lot of fun? Trying to find, there it is. It's become a daily show bit for me. Trying to find the graphic. But hey, Prize Picks is so much fun. And week 17 is upon us. All right. Whether you're starting a new routine or jumping into player projections for the very first time, try something new. Because it can feel like a challenge, but with Prize Picks, it always feels good when you're right. With high-pressure football matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never slows down, and Prize Picks lets you stay in control. Prize Picks is the daily fantasy app that makes watching sports even more exciting by letting you build lineups based on player projections. No drafts, no waiting. Just pick more or less and play your way. All right, getting started on Prize Picks is quick and simple. The app is super easy to navigate. Again, player stat projections, all right? If you think Cade Cunningham's going to score more or less than 25 points, put some money on it. You want to put some money down on Prize Picks during Lions-Bears this week, you can do it. The new early payouts feature is a game changer too, because if a player starts out hot, you can cash out before the game even ends. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, welcome back, Locked On Lions. Hey, thanks for making us your first listen, everybody, of the day. And thanks for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Now, if you haven't already, we need you to do something. Check out our new Locked On Lions Everydayer Club. Yes. All right. Access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On Lions, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. Plus, I'm inviting you to the members-only Locked On Lions Everydayer Club Discord server. That's right. Which includes a group chat just for us, myself, and you guys, the listeners of this show. If you're hanging out on the Discord, it is a lot of fun. Got some chats going with my guy, Steve Facine. Brian H. is new to it. Chris Druin is on there. Gavin Trevino. And many more folks are checking out our Discord server where we're just talking Lions and chatting about the team. Please join us there. Go to lockedonlions.supercast.com. That's lockedonlions.supercast.com. Or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. All right, so here we go. What should the Lions start thinking about for next season? All right, what's on the wish list? What am I hearing? First and foremost, let me just get this out of the way. I think the Lions must hire a new offensive coordinator. All right, Johnny Morton did not work. It was a disaster. Dan Campbell calling the plays while the offense had its moments was a disaster from an overall coaching standpoint. I know what you're thinking. Well, wait a minute. Matt LaFleur calls the plays in Green Bay. They're in the playoffs. He does. Ben Johnson calls the plays in Chicago, and they're going to win the division. They did. It didn't work here. All right. Dan Campbell could call the plays. Yes. But when you middle the season, strip your OC of his duties, it's the second time he has failed. Let's just call it what it is. Johnny Morton failed with the Jets as OC back in 2017 with under Todd Bowles, and he failed this year. They took away the biggest responsibility that he had, which was game day calling the plays. Yours truly was told, and I believed it, that, hey, not as big of a deal. They need to get an offensive coordinator here. All right, they need to get somebody good, and they need to get somebody in here to take some more pressure off of Dan Campbell and somebody that he can bounce ideas off of. There are going to be, there are former head coaches out there right now. The Lions tomorrow or the day after the season hired Brian Daboll to be their next offensive coordinator. I would love that. He was excellent running the OC duties in Buffalo, became the head coach of the Giants. It did not work. Right? The Browns might fire Kevin Stefanski. You want to hire Kevin Stefanski to be your OC? I'm all in. Has he done a great job calling plays with the Browns? No. Have his offenses been dynamic there? No. But head coaching experience. He's got Detroit ties. Of course, his father used to be the GM of the Pistons. I've heard there's plenty of other names out there. David Blau, the former Lions quarterback who's been a coach now, an assistant quarterback's coach in Washington, is highly regarded. If you want to play the buddy ball game here and talk about bringing in your friends, which I'm sorry, everybody does, not just the Lions, David Blau could be an option. Or why don't we do this? Why don't we call Antoine Randall L back in Chicago after he left last year to go with Ben Johnson? He's the receivers coach and assistant head coach of the Bears. Ask him if he wants to be the OC and pay him. Antoine Randall L is highly respected in that Lions locker room and would be a nice offensive mind. There are a lot of options out there. But I think the Lions need to get creative and need to make that change. Another one to keep an eye on is defensive coordinator, but I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. Kelvin Sheppard deserves a second chance. He deserves another year. If you're just going to change out coordinators every year when things go bad, all right, I don't believe in that. Start of the year, I thought Shep did a really good job. He had the defense humming. People were talking about him for the LSU head coaching position after the Tampa Bay Monday night win when he had Nick Whiteside and Eric Hallett blanketing the Tampa Bay receivers and shutting down Baker Mayfield. Everybody was singing his praises and lauding Kelvin Sheppard. He's extremely well-liked in that locker room. I think he's a good coach. Has he done a good job the second half of the year? And has the defense been an absolute dumpster fire? It has. It's been bad. Maybe you hire some sort of defensive assistant or a quality control coach or whatever they call it, senior advisor, and get someone in here that has a lot of experience like they've had in the past with Dom Capers and John Fox. Maybe you get somebody to help mentor Kelvin Sheppard a little bit. But I'm keeping him as DC and I'm giving him another shot. I think he's a good football coach. I'm not going there yet with making that kind of change. So those are just two. We got a lot of talk this week about it. We will talk to Lauren Cox from Locked On Bears on Thursday. I don't know how much we're going to preview this game, but as far as at least assistant coaches, I would keep an eye on new OC, keeping the DC. All right, I promised you PFF grades from this past game, the Christmas night debacle that was the Lions falling to the Minnesota Vikings 23-10. And I did not mention this enough, and let me just do this real fast. That night following the game, Brian Flores did a whale of a job. And I was complaining about the offense, the 6 turnovers, how bad Goff was, how bad Aguakin was at center, all those things. But Brian Flores deserves a lot of credit for that game. The Vikings defense was ferocious. Top 5 and bottom 5 Lion players from last Thursday. Bottom 5 looks like this. Roy Lopez, I'm not going to do grades. I'm just going to quickly tell you who the bottom 5 were. Roy Lopez, DJ Reed, Tyleek Williams, Rock Yassin, and Aleem McNeil before he got hurt. Your best defenders that night from 5 to 1, Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, 4th highest, Daniel Thomas, Malcolm Rodriguez, Aiden Hutchinson at the highest score of 90.6. On offense, your best 5 players from the Vikings loss. 5 down to 1. 5th highest was Tate Ratledge. 4, Amon-Ra. 3, David Montgomery. 2, Penei Sewell. And 1, Isaac Tesla. He had the highest grade, but it was just a 77. Your lowest Lions on offense from 5 down to 1. 5th worst, Anthony Ferkser. 4th worst, Jared Goff, just a 46.6. Giovanni Ricci, 43.3, backup tight end. Shane Zylstra of the Flying Zylstra Brothers, 39.9. And Kingsley Agwakin, we knew had a bad game, playing just his 2nd NFL game at center, 39.5. 3 of the bottom 5 on offense are tight ends. Let me tell you something about Brad Holmes in this draft. And I get it. You're going to have Brock Wright healthy next year, and you're going to have Sam Laporta back. But can they get another tight end in here? The 3 tight ends that they have on the roster right now, Ricci, Ferkser, Zach Horton is there too, and also Shane Zylstra. None of them could block the linebackers at Cass Tech. All right? They'd have a hard time blocking Santa Claus outside of Kroger. They're terrible blockers. Watch the tape. Watch how bad they are. Pass blocking, run blocking, does not matter. Shane Zylstra can catch the ball. Ferkser, got him off the street. I know nothing about Giovanni Ricci other than he was signed to the practice squad a few weeks ago. And I'm telling you, Brock Wright didn't have a great year either when he was healthy. Especially blocking was a down year for him. But it just goes to show how good Sam Laporta is, not only catching the football and what a weapon he is, but also on the blocking side. Tight ends that were brought in following the injuries to Laporta and to Wright are just Javi Baez out there. They're flailing away. All right, a question was asked today about Tate Ratledge and week 18. The graphic says week 17 is here. I should say week 18 is here because it is. You play 17 games. I probably should have fixed that, but I didn't. We will bring that up coming up next about what Tate Ratledge's role is going to be this week. We'll do that next here on Locked on Lions. And Locked on Lions for today, we want to welcome in a new sponsor with us, and that is Gusto. Let's be real. No one starts a business for the joy of calculating tax withholdings or managing payroll spreadsheets. That's where Gusto comes in and take the stress out of payroll, benefits, and HR so you can focus on running your business and supporting your team. Gusto is the all-in-one remote-friendly payroll and HR platform that makes managing your team simple, transparent, and fast. Whether you're hiring, onboarding, or paying employees, Gusto helps you do it all from one place without the hassle or hidden fees. Unlimited payroll runs for one monthly price, which means no surprise charges at the end of the month. And knowing you can reach certified HR experts anytime gives you very big time peace of mind. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/LockedOnNFL and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's right, 3 months of free payroll at Gusto, GUSTO.com/LockedOnNFL. One more time, that's gusto.com/LockedOnNFL. Hi, Monday edition, everybody, of Locked On Lions, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for hanging in there with us this season. I mean, my goodness, what an unmitigated disaster the last few weeks have been. And we knew watching this team, I thought there was another run in them, but it's been a downer. But I think they'll be back. I truly believe that. I don't think this is some end of the road. You're going to hear the haters out there that say it's over. I get it. Lions play in a very tough division. If Minnesota figures out their quarterback situation, look out. That's a good football team. All right. We know the Bears are good. We know the Packers are good. They're just not healthy, but they're young and they got a lot of talent. But the Lions are going to get a 4th place schedule next year. Maybe they'll play a road 1 o'clock game. You believe that all season the Lions did not play one single 1 o'clock road game this year? They were all either at 4:25 or at night. And this week against the Bears at Soldier Field will be a 4:25 game. I've not seen it yet, but just praying. No Jonathan Vilma, just praying. I'm hopeful. This game has some meaning to it because Chicago can get the 2 seed, but we'll see. All right. And again, I apologize. It should say week 18 is here for those of you watching on YouTube. All right. Tate Ratledge question. So what happened all during training camp, or at least during OTAs and everything else? Tate Ratledge took reps at center, and there was a lot of talk when they drafted him, or right after Frank Ragnow retired, really, after the draft, that Tate Ratledge was going to be moved from guard to center. He played guard exclusively at Georgia, but they wanted to see what he was going to do at center. And during OTAs, during rookie minicamp, during parts of training camp, Ratledge got some snaps and reps at center. And I was reading today on Lions Wire, what about playing Ratledge this week at center and giving him a shot at it? Today, Ratledge was, Dan Campbell was asked about that. And while he said, quote, that it's not off the table, it will not happen this Sunday against the Bears. Quote, I don't see that happening. End quote from Dan Campbell. Why not? Why wouldn't you try it out? Why wouldn't you want to see what you possibly have? And this is why all this season's just been so screwed up. Even from the get-go, like training camp, mini camps, Ratledge, we're trying him at center. And then they just shelved it. They went with Glasgow, and quite honestly, he wasn't good. They tried Iguacan, they tried Nice, they tried Cologne. They all smelled bad. It wasn't good. It's like the first preseason game when they had a linebacker, Grant Stewart, returning kickoffs. They did it during training camp practices too. And everybody went, oh, isn't that funny? Like Grant Stewart's returning kicks. He's kind of a tough guy, dynamo. He just runs straight ahead. And then he fumbled the opening kickoff in the Hall of Fame game. And everybody just kind of laughed. So, well, they're just trying this out. Lions spend a lot of time trying stuff out. And almost like it came back to bite them, because were they serious about what they were doing? Or they were just feeling so good about themselves and patting themselves on the back that they were going to go, oh, yeah, let's see Ratledge at center. Oh, let's not. Oh, let's see Grant Stewart in kick returns. Oh, let's not. Can we not do that next year? Let's just put the guys in the right spots as early as possible and leave them there. And I know there's tinkering that goes on. Don't get me wrong. But I would like to see if Ratledge, if they think he has a future at center, why not play him this week? And I get it. Bears have a good D-line. Bears are playing for something, but why not give it a try? See what you have. But according to Dan Campbell, they're not doing that. All right, everybody. Thanks for checking us out wherever you get your podcasts again. And thanks for being with us daily here on Locked on Lions. We're back again tomorrow. There's another position group, coaching-wise, that there might be a change. And I'm going to explain that tomorrow as well. On Locked on Lions. See ya.